Welcome back to Respoiled. Today, I have another captivating story to share with you. But before we dive in, if you're new here, I invite you to subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications, so you'll never miss out on all of my latest uploads. Now let's get started. Former employee John, at Denning Pharmaceutical headquarters, enters the elevator and unveils a gun from his suitcase. On the executive floor, he swiftly eliminates several higher-ups before returning to the reception, where he encounters the police. John remarks, "Somebody had to do something," and then self-deletes. Subsequently, news programs report that Denning Pharmaceutical is launching a new medicine. Despite causing fatal side effects that have already claimed 3 lives, the medication is receiving FDA approval. Due to this situation, the company is dealing with a significant lawsuit, and its stocks are declining, prompting efforts to eliminate all evidence. Alan, a key figure, chooses to lead the case against the company, a decision that will profoundly impact his career. He tasks his legal assistant, Tom, with handling the paperwork. Every Monday, Tom must update his keycard to access the office because they are reset each weekend. After losing John, their crucial witness, Tom informs Alan of his intention to include heart attack victims in the pharmaceutical case. However, Alan rejects the idea, citing that minor victims do not generate profit. Subsequently, Tom is summoned to another superior's office to address the Gambizzi crime family case. Despite Tom's expressed interest in joining the case through a memo, his boss discards it and reprimands Tom for neglecting his current caseload. Later, Tom heads to the file room to store the rejected file from Alan. During his visit, his girlfriend and colleague Anna drops by, and they steal a few secret kisses. Following this, Alan declares that due to server issues since the previous night, everyone can leave early. However, before Tom can depart, Alan confronts him about a hazardous error in the memo he penned earlier, leading to his termination. In the elevator, Tom encounters a stranger for the first time. Upon reaching the reception, a man places a suitcase on the floor, retrieved by another individual who boards the elevator along with Tom, raising his suspicions. Tom attempts to track the man's destination but finds his keycard reset. Despite his attempts to exit, he notices the stranger lingering outside, prompting him to seek assistance from the guard to activate the elevator. Upon reaching the office, Tom finds his coworker Roger occupying his desk inexplicably, prompting Tom to request entry. Roger's odd demeanor alerts Tom, who spots the file he stashed away on the desk. Growing more suspicious, he activates his phone's recording function and conceals it within a pencil holder. Later, he continues to survey the area and finds the unidentified man tampering with the power box. A lawyer confronts the man, skeptical of his claim to be maintenance, and demands identification. Ignoring the request, the man brandishes a gun and fatally shoots the lawyer. As the assailant disposes of the body, Tom hurries to the restroom and uncovers the security guard's lifeless body in a stall. As Tom checks on the guard, the toilet sensor triggers flushing, prompting Tom to close the door and perch on the toilet to conceal himself. Moments later, the killer enters, washing blood from his face while conversing with the deceased and noting he requires the keys. Just before the killer retrieves the keys, gun, and radio from the body, Tom stealthily shifts to the adjacent stall by slipping beneath the partition. Striving to remain unnoticed, Tom perches on the toilet, narrowly avoiding triggering the flushing mechanism. Fortunately, the killer activates his toilet first, masking any noise Tom might have made. The killer smashes the radio and heads to deactivate the fire sprinkler before planting explosives in the file room. Meanwhile, Tom locates Roger in the break room and alerts him about the killer, prompting them to dash to the elevator. Regrettably, the elevator is out of order, compelling them to sprint down the corridor and attempt the emergency exit. Unfortunately, the killer had tampered with the exit, rendering it unopenable, leaving them stranded. They retreat to the main area and attempt to access the reception computer, only to find that the internet is offline. Tom spots the approaching killer, prompting the pair to conceal themselves, but the killer notices the recent computer activity, raising his suspicions. He unplugs the computer and ventures into the desk area, displaying his possession of a keycard. Once he's out of view, the duo emerges from hiding to consider alternative actions. Tom borrows Roger's keycard and unlocks the door to the executive offices to locate Alan, while he instructs Roger to retrieve his phone and summon the police. As Tom triggers the lock, his jacket gets snagged in the door. While Tom hunts for Alan, Roger heads to his desk and dials his wife's number. Before he can convey any message, the killer locates him and forces him into stating that everything is normal. Observing this through the window, Tom hurries to the break room in search of a knife. Once Roger concludes the call, the killer brandishes his firearm and inquires about other late-night workers. Roger falsely claims he's alone, prompting the killer to seize a cable and strangle him, an event captured by Tom's phone. Upon Tom's return, the desk is deserted. Retrieving his phone, he attempts to dial 911, only to find it dead. After plugging in the charger, he surveys the office and discovers Roger's lifeless form in the chair. Just then, the killer reappears, noticing the jacket wedged in the door. Tom seizes Roger's keycard and hastily conceals himself in the closet, where he encounters the lawyer's corpse, startled. As the killer drags Roger's body, he grumbles on his phone about unexpected presences. Tom's phone gains enough charge to ring suddenly. Investigating, the killer rejects Anna's call and finds the incriminating video, promptly deleting it and identifying Tom through the phone's settings. Calling out Tom's name, he searches, but Tom remains concealed under a desk. Once the killer departs, Tom flees to another office and attempts to trigger the fire alarm by igniting paper, to no avail. Tom spots someone in a neighboring office and ignites a larger flame in the trash can, pushing it against the curtains to start a fire. This attracts the neighbor's attention, and Tom signals him to call for help. However, the killer detects the smell of smoke, grabs a fire extinguisher, and hurries to the fire. Tom flees upon seeing him, and the killer enters to extinguish the flames. To avoid suspicion, the killer pretends to use the phone, ensuring the neighbor doesn't call for help. Shortly after, Tom reaches the reception and swiftly generates a new keycard using the computer. The killer nearly discovers him, prompting Tom to put the computer to sleep and conceal himself beneath the desk. Once the killer departs, Tom resets all the locks, rendering the killer's card useless. Subsequently, he dims most of the lights in the building and hurries to Alan's office, only to find him engaged in conversation with a woman. The killer shoots the office lock, prompting Tom to hide behind the door. The man appears acquainted with Alan, but when the woman brandishes a gun, he swiftly eliminates her. Taking her weapon, he exits, instructing Alan to remain in his office. Alone, Tom inquires about the woman's identity, learning from Alan that she's associated with the Gambizzi crime family. She was slated to testify against her spouse, leading Alan to speculate that the mafia dispatched the killer to silence her. They hear a strange noise and realize the killer is attempting to break into the file room with an axe. However, it's futile as the door is reinforced steel and has bulletproof glass. Later, Alan and Tom seek to flee but have to conceal themselves upon hearing the killer's approach. He arrives with the janitor, mimicking his voice, and demands Tom's emergence or threatens his life. Tom questions the killer about the janitor's nickname, to which the killer is clueless, confirming Tom's suspicion that the janitor is deceased. The criminal reactivates the elevators, attempting to lure them out. Alan and Tom discover the janitor's lifeless body in the corridor, accompanied by a note reading, "You win." Suddenly, they hear a phone ringing and hasten to the desk, where Tom is astonished to find his own number calling. Alan suspects it's a trap and attempts to flee, resulting in the killer shooting him in the arm. They flee, with the killer in pursuit, firing relentlessly. Seeking refuge, they enter an office and lock the door, but it's not reinforced, and the killer breaks in using an axe. As he approaches, they rush into the file room. Tom endeavors to use the killer's phone to seek assistance, but it's password protected. The man possesses Tom's phone, which lacks a PIN, so he texts Anna, urging her to come over. Tom, eager to assist her, gets an idea and begins using the copy machine. At the entrance, the killer admits Anna and holds her at gunpoint, demanding her phone for destruction. Just then, Tom intervenes and proposes swapping the keycard for Anna's safety, but the killer remains doubtful until Alan joins to facilitate negotiations. Upon dropping the gun, Alan hands the card to the criminal, who releases Anna but retrieves the guard's gun. Alan urges him to rescue Anna, prompting the killer to punch him and haul him into the file room. Inside, He accuses Alan of failing to clear the office, implying collaboration. Upon activating the explosives, Tom arrives with the gun, only to find it empty. Alan seizes the opportunity to flee as the door shuts, trapping the killer inside. Despite attempting to escape with the keycard, it fails to work, as Tom had replaced it with a counterfeit one made using the copy machine. The explosion ignites the file shelves, sparking a fire that the killer futilely attempts to extinguish before succumbing to smoke inhalation. Tom enters, discards the gun, and quells the flames by toppling the shelves. Upon regaining consciousness, the killer assaults Tom, initiating a struggle. Despite Anna's intervention, she is struck, enabling Tom to retaliate. As they both stumble, Alan arrives and eliminates the assailant with a gunshot. Before passing away, the man utters the numbers 1122, prompting Tom to retrieve the keys from his pocket. As Anna utilizes the keys to activate the elevators, Tom returns to the desks and locates the case file, revealing the pharmaceutical company's intent to eliminate all evidence. He inputs 1122 into the killer's phone, uncovering Alan's phone number. Alan was paid by the pharmaceutical company to sabotage the case, thus he hired the man to destroy the files and kill Roger. He argues that corporations pose a greater threat than the mafia and attempts to bribe Tom, who refuses the money and departs with the file. Fearing legal repercussions, Alan kills himself. The police arrive, prompting Tom to quickly depart with Anna to avoid detection. In the file room, the copy machine churns out numerous copies of the case evidence. A police officer, who had earlier provided the gun to the killer, discovers Tom's phone in the killer's possession and promptly contacts a hitman to eliminate Tom and silence him. Don't forget to like, subscribe and enable notifications for more content like this. Thank you for watching.